Hello. Let's talk while I forage and use my life energy. So as you can probably imagine from the last video, I hit 11670, which means that I got to the point when the next raid is not solo ball, so there's no solo option for the raid that's available. It becomes available on the item level, the Belshazzar Act 2, the Kazaros raid, I think. Requiem of loading of the floating nightmare. Yeah, there's no solo mode anymore, which means that I am at the I'm at a point where the game becomes a lot different for me. As you probably know, I came back after like more than 2 years, and it was fun because there was a lot of extra event mats from Challenge Express, like this one gave a bunch of things, and then the other one, the Rise of the Valkyrie, also gave stuff, and there is still some boxes left. There's like still these that give like a little bit, and there's still the event quest has these two, so that's a little bit more. But generally speaking, I had a lot of extra mats, bunch of unclaimed stuff from events and skins, and I had you know, the two power passes that we got, so I could power pass this one and then use all the express events on it, and then the other one was the sword. Okay, hit level 30 on the foraging, which obviously at this point everyone has it, but it's nice. Anyways, I could solo everything, like, because that was not because I'm so strong or so good, but because there's a solo mode for those, so I could get to, you know, experience the cutscenes and the fights, at least like obviously a watered down version of it, because it's gonna be a lot more difficult obviously in the actual version. Like, it's a lot more difficult to do the mechanics when you have to coordinate them with other people compared to you doing it solo. So until now I was able to just, you know, run around and progress, but like I said, now I get to a point where I need to group up, which would most likely mean that I'm gonna have to change back to support, because like I don't have such a, you know, overgeared state where I could do competitive or comparable DPS to a different class that's actually a proper DPS class on my same, you know, item level, my same gear. So that means that I need a group, and the thing is, I am willing to learn. Like, I am willing to, you know, just look at guides, look at videos, look at all the mechanics, but chances are I'm gonna mess up, especially when it's the first time me actually doing it. And I'm worried that everyone is at this point doing it as homework, and everyone, you know, just wants to, which is understandable obviously, but then everyone just wants to go in and one-shot it and one and done, no mistakes, no new people, no, you know, messing up mechanics, or he also just expecting that everyone just knows the, let's say, lingo, or knows what if they type, for example, if they type 2 in chat, that they assume that everyone's gonna know what that means regarding the mechanics. So ideally I would like to have a guild a group, because thing is, I know that I need a little bit of patience, and if there is no patience, then obviously I'm just gonna mess up more. Obviously, everyone would like to be the type of person that can perform under pressure better, and just not make mistakes. Like, people don't make mistakes because they want to make mistakes. Obviously, it's kind of a given. And yeah, that's where I'm at. And like I said, until now I could do the storyline quests that were left. Like, I power passed through the up until South Curzon, so now what's happening is that I'm like trying to piece together what could have happened when I'm doing the report quests in those areas, like, you know, like Agacia, Waldes, those places. And that's also fun in its own way, trying to piece those together. You know, like, for example, if someone comes up and is like, the dialogue implies that we've been through a bunch of things together, and then obviously for me, because I power passed through all those areas, it's the first time I've ever seen them. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm trying to, like, you know, retroactively piece it together and connect with the storyline. But then there was the North Curzon, I don't know, I still don't know. Even though they say it in the dub bunch, I should know. Anyways, so there's that storyline that I went through, and the Rumeria one I also went through. And both of those are like, I don't know if it would be fair to call them a mixed bag, because like there are, you know, just some parts that, you know, just has to happen. But there were especially when it was like preparing the big battle, and like obviously you need to set up for that people talk kind of stuff, and the whole group is together, all the side areas and all the leaders and all the main characters, let's say, from the areas. Obviously that been, you know, also happening like earlier with like the Southwern stuff is also similar to that. But there are places when it's like, oh, let's talk about what's gonna happen. Let's summarize it again, what's gonna happen. And then sometimes it's kind of weird, because if it's relevant to the actual progression of the quest, like for example, if we have to talk about what's gonna happen because you need to know what's gonna happen when you are doing the fighting or you're doing the quest, or if there's gonna be certain mechanic that you will not be able to do if you don't listen and properly read the quest. But I don't know, there's a lot of reiterating stuff, which like it makes sense in the context of the you know, scenario, because obviously there's gonna be a bunch of repeating things when there's like, you know, 20 different people that have to, you know, coordinate a bunch of different things. So I don't really know how it would be better, how you could, you know, make it not feel as I don't know if it's boring is the right word, but it's a bit tedious, let's say. But all these are just like kind of musings, not like deep criticism or anything, because honestly, if you really think that it's that bad, then you can just skip through it, right? You can just, you know, shift G through everything. But yeah. Thing is, those are one part of it, but then when it's actually getting to, I guess, mainly the cutscenes, or like the part where you actually get to battle, that's pretty fun. And also there's like some emotional parts as well. It's like obviously only gonna be emotional if you are, connected to the story in some levels. Like if you chief G's with everything, then it probably won't hit at all. Won't hit at home at all. But that's been going on until now. And then from here you could say that this is the the actual game. And definitely if I think back when it was Valtan and Vikas and learning that and progressing through that was a lot of fun. So like it's definitely, I'm not disagreeing that it's the highlight of the game, but at the same time I appreciate even the quests, or like for example the reputation stuff, when you learn to those quests and actions, you learn to the characters, and that's like the same idea with the song and the emote that you do for the rapport. Like obviously mechanic wise it's the NPCs getting used to you and building favorability with you. But at the same time, if you are just, even if it's not taking long, just a few minutes, like not even that, like a minute or so every day, if you only talk about the actions themselves, if you just repeat the same thing for X amount of days and you keep going back to an NPC, it's gonna leave a mark. Like I'm not saying necessarily it's gonna stay with you for the rest of your life or that kind of thing, but it's gonna stick with you for a bit at least. That's a nice way of world building, I guess, or building up a connection. And like I said earlier at some point, I'm pretty sure that I appreciate the island storylines as well a lot. So that's also one of my fondest memories. When there's like a whole world out there with like so many islands and so many stuff to explore and to get to the collectibles. That's a lot of fun. But and there's still a bunch of collectibles for me to do, so it's not like that's over or anything. But yeah, I'm a bit worried, and I think I am over complicating it to an extent, and I am worrying too much about things, especially because if I'm like support, I'm probably can just press my abilities on cooldown, just try to keep the buffs up, try to put the brand on the thingy, on the boss, try to hit the counter, but will inevitably miss. And I'm pretty sure that I've like done my job. I press like the holy protection when it's like on cooldown, or when it like makes sense. I guess depending on which tripod I take, because there's a tripod that gives you a huge shield, but that would probably make more sense if you actually try to time it properly. And there's the other one that gives a longer duration to the shield, and that tripod would mean that you would just spam it on cooldown and you'd probably be fine. But like these kind of small differences, it's like I know that I would be fine for the most part, but it's also the mechanics, right? And I don't really wanna mess up one mechanic and then everyone's just going crazy and everyone wants to leave and everyone wants to kick, that kind of stuff. And also the whole discussion around what constitutes low level, or like talking about threats And like I obviously I recognize that there's a issue, let's say, of people running alternate rosters, which is probably not something that I would ever do, because I just what's the point? I don't get it. But anyway, also the honor system is pretty funny. It doesn't seem like it's gonna fulfill its intended purpose at all. It's just gonna be a giving honor to each other and begging for honor and that kind of stuff, which obviously runs counterintuitive with the whole idea. So that would be interesting. Obviously, I have zero. I have zero honor because I took part in zero group activities until now. And this week I am basically safe because I have no attempts left. I'm basically safe, right? Like all endgame content, gold reward chances were used. So I'm fine here for this week. But probably on next week I should. Yeah. Probably next week I should be doing the actual group stuff. And I am not sure if I'm gonna do it, to be honest. Like, it's possible that I'm just gonna, you know, mess around, do the solo stuff, and then quit. Or I don't know. That is certainly a possibility. And even if that happens, I wouldn't say that the time was wasted when I came back, because like I said, I went through the quests, I reconnected with the world in a way, I got to experience solo content, or I mean the solo versions of the raids, and yeah, there is the guild that I was part of it, but to be honest, like I don't like, so I would, and I probably most people are with this, are like this with the guilds and whatnot. That they would like to, you know, find one where it just clicks, and you feel like you fit in. But that's hard. That's hard to find, especially when you're like returning. And every guild has an idea of what they want out of you, or what level of activity they require. And in that, it's like hard to find the spot, hard to find the group that actually aligns with what you wanna do. Like when I look, it's like it's either too hardcore or too, you know, nothing burger, and when nothing happens. And then again, there's no real point. Like if we really want a guild, which I probably should have done. If I have a guild for my alts, at least that's level 10. So at least that's something. Like I look here and people just put their head on the keyboard and just roll their head on it. And honestly, I mean, like it's a lot better to just, you know, have access to the guild stuff. So I probably should have just joined all the guild in the meantime. But I'm also kind of holding on to hope that I just, you know, find something. But for that, I'm gonna have to look. And that was, as I started to say, that was the other guild, Astral. I was in for a bit, but honestly, it was like I was in, I think it was Codex, right? It was a guild where I was doing the Bolton and Vika stuff, But by the time, like there was like a gap, kinda, and like by the time Kakuseidon came around, I was already kinda, you know, one leg out the door with the game. You know, all the homework got a little bit too much, and so I ended up never doing that, and I still haven't done it because it has like that kind of, you know, side-scrolling stuff with the arrows, which I cannot do with my keyboard, and it's kind of a pain to unplug it and plug the other one back in, because that one also has a bunch of issues, a bunch of different issues. This one only has this one issue, because if I need the arrows, I need to hold down the function key, and if I hold down the function key, the keyboard goes crazy, and it decides to reverse everything. So like, I hold down the function key, and then it thinks that the function key is pressed when it isn't, and it thinks that it isn't pressed when it is. So like everything just goes backwards. Which on one hand would be nice, because then I don't have to hold down to get the arrows. But on the other hand, every other input is also going crazy because of the function key. So it's not really playable. So I still haven't done the clown. So let's do with this UI. Right, so like, can enter. So yeah, I did the solo modes everywhere, except this one. Like I said, obviously the solo modes are a lot easier, but that also means that it doesn't really prepare me for new content. And there's one more thing, and then I'm gonna probably end it here. One more thing is that I am probably way too into the discussions, or I looked way too much at the discussions, and all it did just scare me away with, you know, the expectations. Because on one hand you would expect, right, that you get to the item level to get access to the next content, so then it would make sense, right? Like I hit the 1670, so that makes sense that I can do Belshazzar, so that I will do Belshazzar. But because of where the average of the item level is, or like the expectation of people, then, you know, going on item level into raid is not really something that people would prefer. And I don't know, I don't think that it's like one, it's not necessarily fair to expect it, but it also worries me a little bit that if I go in on item level and I make a mistake, then, you know, everyone's still gonna be waiting and expecting that mistake, right? Because I am on item level. Which is kind of sad, because the whole point of hitting the item level would be that I get access to the new content. So I don't know. And then if it's like there's no solution to this, because then even if I say, okay, I'm gonna stick to solo leveling, and I'm gonna stick to the solo mode until I get a bit more item levels in, that's also not good, because then it's just gonna be, oh, they just over leveled, over honed. Maybe in some edge cases you could even be a whale, even though you're not. It was always like a weird feeling to get that. Obviously it hasn't happened after I came back, but before that, then I got lucky with honing. There were some moments when someone said I was, you know, wailing, and that was it felt funny. It felt a little good, to be honest, at some point, that you get confused with whaling. But then it's not whaling, it's just luck. So it's not really something that one can take credit for either way. I guess you could take credit more for whaling than you could for being lucky. Because in that one, at least you have some input. But yeah, I again yapped a lot, but the long story short is that I got to the point where I need to get into the group content, which is the actual game, and I don't know how it's gonna go. I'm gonna try to look for a group, for a guild or something, where I have a little bit more leeway. I guess you could say if you know, people have some other interest in you aside from clearing that specific raid that you got sorted into together and then never meet again, then you know things go a bit differently. All I would like is just, you know, just a little patience when I mess up inevitably. It doesn't matter how many times I watch the videos or check the guides or look at the mechanics. It's gonna be different when I'm actually doing it in there with other people. So yeah, that is where I'm at. And as for the item level, I have the 1670. There is this one that has on 1680 some more stuff, and then there's another one. There's another box in there, and that one also has another box in there. So like up until 1700, there are some milestones where we get some stuff from boxes. So that is nice. That is definitely nice. So there's this one, and then this is gonna be the last one that I get from here. I guess these two. So I guess there's like two of those. So there is some help along the way, and my plan would be, or my hope would be, to at least hit 1680 like a reasonable time, and then I get access to Act 2 and Act 3, like so. This one is 1670, 1680, obviously not the hard modes, but 1680 is possible, and I have 2 months. I have 2 months to get at least there was somewhere one 1680 here, and there is another one somewhere. This one, yes, that needs Flame of Darkness Tarkal, probably the easier one between the two, but also 1700. But I have like a month for that, so it should be fine. Alright, that was a lot of talking. In the meantime, I was farming up a little bit of XP, a little bit of flowers. Let's see what it gave. It's not a lot. It's not a lot, to be honest. This looked a bit more money yesterday. But I didn't wanna leave the life energy overcapped. That kind of feels like a waste. Oh, I also managed to get an Omnium Star, so that's also nice. yeah, so hopefully those sell. And then I got a few thousand gold together. And by the way, all this gold, it came from selling those gems, which is not, repeatable. It's basically just the gems I had before. I just sold them because we got all the bound gems. But eventually it will. It might prove a mistake, but I'm just so long from that point. Like I have these at the moment, obviously set up properly. I have another 7, but I mean I have another 4 level 7s, but I haven't done them yet because that takes some swapping around. To see like which one I'm removing here, which one I'm removing there, and I also all the 6s they didn't matter which one I put on which one, but then now if I swap to 7, only 4 of them, then I have to prioritize the ones that actually benefit from it more. So that takes a bit of shuffling around. So I haven't done it yet. They are just sitting here in my stash. Here somewhere. Okay, maybe not here. Maybe here. These level 7s. So yeah. And like I said, I got the Omnium Star. This is also a new discovery that I just realized today. Although I should have made the connection earlier. So, field boss, right? Back in my day, as they say, it was all of them here, right? Like all the area field bosses, and you would have to choose which one you would want to get. Like for example, getting the one for an ingredient that you need for food for Adventure Tome, right? Or Omnium Star, that kind of stuff, like swapping around, or just getting the kill for Adventure Tome, right? Then you would have to figure out which one you want to prioritize. And now I come back and I only see one field boss here, right? But I still assumed that it was just not showing up, or maybe it was sorted by levels or rank, not rank, levels, item level, and it still works the same way. But then, because when I today decided that I'm gonna prioritize doing the Elgasia boss instead, Israfel, I did that, and then I realized that the field boss was still unclaimed, and that's when it clicked how it works. It's like this one field boss and the others are raid, and the others you can repeat. And I wasn't entirely sure if it would still work with the Omnium Star, but I'm getting the other stuff here, which is kind of a waste because like all of these are not not really not really usable for me. So it would probably be better if I was sitting on the other character to do this. But at the same time, like this is what I like to run around with and do all the stuff, all the quests, all the rapport, all the collectibles, all the farming. Like this is just the one that I like running around with. So even though I'm losing out on these, right? Because I'm not gonna be able to use it because it's tier 3 mats. I'm still doing it on this one, and luckily I managed to get the Omnium Star from Israfel, but there was also a very lucky field boss. Okay, this is the last thing. Then I'm really ending it. It's gonna be another hour video. Anyways, so there was the boss and the actual field boss, Sevek Atun, something like that. And I got the poison rune, and there was also a grudge, relic grudge. And obviously I didn't buy it, but I got like 5,000 something, more than 5,000 gold, just from the auction split. Obviously the gold is not here anymore. because I obviously claimed it. But it was like 5,000 something from the Grudge. And then that was also under like legendary pack, and that also went for like 1,000 something. 1,000? I think it was 11,000 actually. And the Grudge went like 200, 210,000 gold plus some change. And that's where we got 5,000 something split from. That was very nice. So lucky. And also one last thing, I know I said it a bunch of times. Anyways, Guardian. For aforementioned reason, I didn't really go with people. So I was just, going through these, catching up and soloing these, and I wasn't sure if this is like soloable over here. I wasn't sure. Like obviously no access to this one, but it is. So I can just go in and I can just fight it and just take it down. That's nice. So, but that also means that I don't really I don't really need to group up with people, which might not be a good thing, because it just lets me delay the inevitable when I have to group up. I don't know what the expectations are, but I do feel like I have prepared as a support more than the average, but at the same time we know that people are greedy, so there is a chance that doesn't matter what you do, it's not gonna be enough. Doesn't matter how prepared you are, you make one mistake and everything might just come crashing down. So yeah, I'm gonna this is what I've been saying the entire hour that I've been yapping, basically. But the one thing that I really want is just and the main reason why I want a actual group of people that I interact with beyond the specific raid that we are sorted into. That if like if you people see each other as people, then they have a lot more patience and understanding and just decency compared to when you just see you as a random NPC that they got sorted together for one game, like one raid, and then as long as they leave or you leave, then they will never have to see you again. And it doesn't matter how true that is, doesn't matter how big or small the player base is, or it doesn't matter how many people you actually see over and over again. Until you have an actual presence that is not going away as soon as the raid is over, then all those tendencies are, for the most part, are gonna come out. And I might be underselling the people in the game, or maybe overselling it, I don't know. I'm not expecting much from people, which is why I am worried with joining back into group content. Right, let's do the drugs and then I'm gone for real. Okay, I forgot that it's a damage reduction at the beginning. My bad. I mean, the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. Even if I go down, portal is right there. And I have to resets. It would be nice if I got I got the star while I'm recording. But even if I don't, that's fine. I am so worried this is gonna be like a 30 gigabytes file. It's gonna take 10,000 years to upload. Ow. Dash. Ow. Okay, ouch. Ouch. Four. This boss is moving around a lot. Oh, this is imminent. That's not good. Like trying to not go too much into that side. Okay, hopefully it comes back. Okay, if it resets, I'm gonna be so mad. If it resets, I'm gonna lose my mind. I mean, not really. Ah. Hurts. I wanna use the potion. Okay, it's gonna be hilarious if I die, I want to say. I don't know why I'm saving the Phoenix stuff. Not like I don't have more than I could ever use. Come back and I get to... Oh, are you kidding? No. I'm so worried that it's gonna freeze. Well, no star. Unlucky. Did I get anything useful? Any ingredient? Nothing. Alright. Okay. Anyway, that was it. I mean, I'm probably just gonna camp it here. Although I can also go and check in row 1. See if the other boss is up. Like, these are the two that I need the Omnium from. And I didn't know earlier what's gonna happen when I kill it once. But apparently I can just keep doing it all day. Which I kind of wish I realized earlier. Because then I would have had more opportunities to do it. But honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, I'm just gonna go there and see if it's there. I tried to do it on the other side. I ran through the map to get the other boss on the other side, but it didn't give me anything. So I thought that it might be once a day only for that one. But then I took down the one that is on our side of the map, and then I got credit again. So yeah, not entirely sure how it works. But it looks like, because even if I took it, when I took it down the other side, it said that the other team took down the boss. So I don't know. If that probably means that I can only get credit for the one that's on my side. But then I don't get why other people came from the other camp, from the blue camp, to this side when I was taking down the boss, or we were taking down the boss this side. Anyways, it's been 45 minutes. I've yet to battle a lot of things and nothing at the same time. But yeah, we'll see if I can actually ease back into group content properly. Alright, bye.